Nobody's innocent. Justice, it's an illusion. Uncertainty is the only sure thing. Uncertainty creates fear, and fear creates money. Green Arbor, just another urban labyrinth. The El Dorado, full of beer to cash in on. Gangs rush in to get their hands on that gold. But those days are over now. It's crazy how an experimental idea from both the Soul Calibur and Taken team come up with a super underrated 3D beat 'em up gem in the PS2 era. Ironically, this was the period where so many companies were dropping so many beat 'em ups left and right. Urban Reign was directed by Masahide Kito. Does Ace Combat 7 and that first person beat 'em up game Breakdown on the original Xbox sound familiar to anyone? Man, 2005 was such a wild era for beat 'em ups. Urban Reign puts you in control of Brad Hawk, a no-nonsense Street Fighter hired to clean up the gang-infested city of Green Arbor, who strongly gives off the vibe of Jason Statham. Am I the only one who really just sees this parallel between him and Brad? I hope not. The story follows Brad as he navigates through corrupted gang bosses, brutal street fights, and underground arenas. At first glance, it might look just like another arcade-style brawler, but Urban Reign is anything but basic. It takes the best elements from games like Tekken, Def Jam Fight for New York, Final Fight, and Soul Calibur's weapon mechanics and blends them into a raw, fast-paced, and highly unique experience in my honest opinion. Now, its combat is super unique and one of the most exhilarating experiences in my personal opinion. So what makes this truly awesome is, unlike most beat 'em ups, this game isn't just about fighting one or two enemies at a time. Battles often involve multiple opponents, creating a chaotic and strategic encounters on top of everything. So you'll end up like going about different strategies of how you can take multiple people out at once. Even its grappling system is like so good. It allows for complex grapples, reversals, and counters. Every character has their own unique throws, slams, and submission moves. In particular, you can immobilize people in the body health mechanics. That little green dude that you see up there next to your health bar, yeah, if you get that all the way to red, you could pretty much, like in some cases, like literally put them out of commission, or really just weaken them to where they barely are able to do damage to you on that specific part of the body, whatever it is. Even its striking system is very much like Taken. So, as long as you play Taken, you'll pretty much feel right at home with how the way its juggle system works and how the way hits, counter hits, crushes, things of that nature. So, you'll end up feeling just right at home with that, with the high, mid, and low attacks. Even the environments of a lot of the stages too, where you can use your the walls, weapons, and even your own teammates to your advantage. The ability to throw opponents into obstacles or even just objects that are just around like the levels and stuff like that just adds another layer on top of everything. There's double attacks on two enemies, double team specials. Same goes for weapons. Yeah, even weapons have their own double team attacks or grab animations that you can do, which is why it makes it so beautiful with the combat in this game. Then let me not get you started on its dodge and counter system. Instead of mindless button mashing, timing is key because the window in this is a little bit tight. You can dodge, block, counter enemy attacks. You can even counter a counter back. It's like, say someone grabs you, you can counter that grab, while at the same time, if you're quick enough, you can counter back their attempt. So there's this back and forth of tug of war and these layers upon layers within this beautiful game. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, even with weapons, you can counter those from dodge rolling, avoiding slices, along with catching weapons thrown at you with square and X at the same time. There's special abilities in this game, and there's unlockables, of course, mainly as you progress through the story mode, which I will say barely qualifies as one. Just turn your brain off, enjoy the chaos, and the random cutscenes.
Ah, yeah. I can smell some cool gangsta action coming our way.
Fool, ain't nothing cool about this. It's gonna be a bloody war, dog.
A brawler? What? Shorty can't even fight her own battle? Where the hell is KG?
But I will say it still gives you plenty of wanting more lore bits of the world along with character bios in those games. You can unlock new characters, abilities like meter finishers, or even rage mode, which I'm sure it's where the Taken team took this idea later on for their games, roughly around Taken 6 and onwards. And even the wall bounce mechanic that you saw in Taken 7 introduced during Season 2. I'm sure this is where they got that from. Hell, Paul Phoenix and Martial Law show up in this game as unlockable guest characters too, with their major moves flowing nicely in this game structure, I might add. And we definitely have to have this conversation, unfortunately. So, why didn't this game blow up during the time? PS2 exclusivity. Unlike many other beat-em-up games, Urban Reign never got a sequel or a re-release, keeping it pretty much locked into the PlayStation 2 era. Even not just that, there was just lack of marketing. Despite being made by Namco, the same company behind Taken, Soul Calibur, and many other games out there, it didn't get the same level of promotion. The only reason I remember finding out about the game as a kid was randomly seeing it in Blockbuster during the time. So it gives that classic Namco stamp of really just not really promoting some of their other games if it's not like their flagship titles. And also the difficult learning curve of the game. It's really not your typical button mashing beat 'em up. The mechanics are pretty deep. The CPU can be polarizing. 1 minute they're test dummies, then they're fighting you like it's EVO Grand Finals on stage. So, without proper tutorials to teach you important mechanics and a few hidden ones, many players never got to appreciate its combat system fully. And even this is probably one of the other biggest nails in the coffin to me, in my opinion, is there is no type of online multiplayer during those early days when couch multiplayer was really starting to fade a little bit and online play was starting to become dominant in more games roughly around this time period early on. Like, you had Halo 2, Mortal Kombat, Deceptions, and different things like that that I'm just naming up top of my head. That during that time, that's when you were starting to see companies experimenting even more, just adding online play within their games. I'll never understand why this one particular did not have it in some capacity, which is still so strange to me. But despite those setbacks, the game has built a pretty dedicated fan base, with many players still praising its combat system and unique mechanics to this day, along with a newly growing community recently on Discord through the PS2 emulator. I'll leave that in the description and comment section as well if you want to end up joining that Discord server for Urban Reign. With the resurgence of beat-em-ups coming back, like Sifu, Acts of Blood, and many others out there, I definitely feel like if we saw like a remake of this game or a sequel or even just a spiritual successor of this game, that it could definitely take off in the modern gaming era, especially like if they add a proper online multiplayer mode for the free mode, and even just for going against your friends or other random people, player matches, rank, lobbies, the whole 9 yards of everything. Not only that, a nice, decently story mode on top of that. Like, man, this will be one of the best 3D beat 'em ups out there if they ever like thought about doing something like that. But hopefully, if Namco ends up revisiting this gym once again, it will definitely get a big old following, I may say. But if you enjoyed today's video, please give a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated of any new videos coming to the channel. And the links and everything like that, all my socials will be in the description, including the Discord. So if you ever want to just hang out, chill, play some games, or even just chat, really, just join, just hit me up. And on top of that, I will see you guys on the next video, because we're definitely going to have our hands full with this one right here. This one is another guilty pleasure game of mine growing up, so I hope you guys look forward to what I have in store with this one. It's Blackmore here, signing out. Catch you next time, folks. Peace.
The study of Kung Fu fighting